Leave Earth. Get everything. Asterisk. Alex sat on the edge of his broken bed in a tiny room filled with dust and silence. The fan above him moved slow, like it was tired of life just like him. The walls were cracked, the light flickered, and the only thing that worked was his old tablet outside the window. The sky was brown and heavy with smoke. There was no color left in the city, just gray and noise and pain. He had not eaten since yesterday. Water was low and jobs were gone. Earth had become a junkyard of lost dreams. Everyone wanted to leave, but no one had a way out. Alex checked his tablet again, hoping for a message or a miracle. Something new appeared on the screen, a bright blue pop-up he had never seen before. The message was simple, clean, and strange. Tide of Earth want a house for free. New planet, new life, zero cost. Click YES to begin your transfer. Alex laughed at first, thought it was a virus or maybe a prank. But his finger moved on its own. He clicked YES. The screen turned black, then white, then showed a loading bar. His heart beat faster. His room felt colder. Then a new message appeared. Congratulations, Alex. Mercer, your transfer is approved. Departure in 6 hours. Pack lights say goodbye. He stared at the screen, not sure if this was real. The light in the room went out for a second, then came back. His tablet turned off by itself. The air changed, like something invisible had entered the room. Alex stood up, walked to the mirror, and looked at himself. 26 years old, skinny, tired eyes full of questions. No one would miss him. He had no family, no friends, nothing to leave behind, except this empty room. He picked up a small bag, put in some clothes, a photo, and the old wristwatch from his dad. That was all. He walked outside. The sky above him rumbled with low thunder, but there was no rain. People moved like shadows. No one looked up. No one cared. He walked to the old train station where he got the message to go. There was no train, but there was a small silver pod standing alone near the tracks. It had no doors, no windows, but as he stepped closer, it opened with a soft sound inside. It was clean and white and warm. He sat down, and the seat hugged him like a soft hand. The pod closed, and music began to play, not from speakers, but inside his head. Welcome, Alex. You have made the right choice. Earth is no longer for you. You are now part of the Galactic Resettlement Program. He wanted to ask questions. Who was behind this? Where was he going? What planet? What people? But the music grew louder and his eyes became heavy. Sleep came like a fog, and he let go and he opened his eyes again. He was floating in a soft white room with no corners, no doors, no ceiling. A voice spoke again. Arrival in 60 seconds. Prepare for integration. Room shifted, walls changed, colors danced. His body felt light, but strong, like gravity was being rewritten just for him. Then a new voice came, not from the system, but from beside him. Hello, human. We are here to welcome you. He turned and saw two figures. Tall, glowing skin, bright eyes, smiles that felt both warm and strange. They looked like people, but not quite. They moved with grace like dancers in slow motion. One had green eyes, the other bluey. Araya and Nira, your housemates and your companions here. Blinked. What does that mean? Where am I? What planet is this? The room opened, and he saw it, a land of blue grass, golden skies, and silver lakes. Clean air, sweet scent, birds that looked like crystal. A house stood ahead, floating gently on a clear platform. Glass walls, and soft lights. All of this for me. Yes, Alex, you have arrived, and you are home. He took a step outside. The ground felt soft, but real. A breeze touched his face, and for the first time in years, he smiled. But inside the house, far in the corner of a glowing screen, a message blinked. Subject 47A. Successfully placed. Begin observation mode. Maintain illusion. And the screen turned black. Asterisk. Alex stepped into the house with slow steps, his eyes wide with wonder and confusion. The floor under his feet was smooth like glass, but warm like sand. The walls shifted colors from soft blue to gentle green, as if breathing with him. There was no furniture, yet everything he needed appeared as he looked around. A chair formed behind him just when he thought of sitting. A soft couch appeared beside a window when he glanced that way outside. The sky stretched forever in gold and silver shades, with 3 moons hanging above like silent watchers. The birds flew in patterns that looked like drawings. In the air, Alex felt like he had walked into a dream he did not order, but now could not leave. Raya and Nira followed him inside. They smiled without blinking, always too perfect, too calm, too ready. Their voices matched in rhythm like a song written just for his ears. We hope your home is to your liking, Alex, said Raya. Everything here listens to you, said Nira. Think of comfort, and comfort will come. He nodded slowly, still unsure. Are you real? He asked. They looked at each other, then laughed softly. Like the wind through trees, we are assigned to you, said Raya. We are here to make your life easy, said Nirahai. Sat down on the new couch, and watched the walls shift again. This time they showed pictures of him from Earth, his old room, his broken fan, his last meal, even the moment he clicked YES on the tablet. How do you have this? He asked. The house stores memory for comfort. Nira said you are important. Alex, Raya added. He stood up and walked to the window. The lake outside shimmered and showed his reflection, but something was off for a second. The water turned black and his face became someone else. He blinked and it returned to normal. Raya stepped beside him and touched his arm gently. You should rest tomorrow. We show you the town. You mean there are more people here? Of course, said Nira. Many humans from many places, but today is yours alone. The system wants you to adjust it. Nodded again, but his mind was spinning. He was free, he was safe. But it all felt like a story too smooth. With no edge as he walked through the house, each room responded to his steps. Lights changed, doors opened without a sound. Even a shower turned on as he entered the bathroom. Everything worked without effort. Everything was perfect to perfect later. Sat on the balcony watching the sky turn violet. As the moons rose higher, Raya and Nira brought him food. He had not told them what he wanted. But it was his favorite roasted chicken with soft bread and cold juice. He did not ask how they knew. Sat beside him silently, not eating, just smiling. He looked at the plate, then at them. How do you know this is my favorite? We study your file, Raya said. Everything about you is known to make you happy. Nira added. Alex forced a smile, but felt a small coldness in his chest. He ate slowly, watching the moons reflect in his glass. After dinner they showed him the sleep chamber. The bed was made of clouds, or something like it, soft but strong. It shaped to his body like a hug. The ceiling showed stars. Real ones or fake, he could not tell. He lay down and closed his eyes, but sleep did not come. Soft humming filled the room. He sat up and looked around. The stars above began to blink in strange patterns like a code. He stood up and reached for the wallet. Responded to his touch and opened a small panel inside. He found a screen blinking. Radar. New message not from Raya. Not from Nira. Warning subject Alex Mercer. Active outside pattern level to alert. Begin passive correction. He stepped back. What was this? Who was watching him? Was he not alone? He ran to the main room. Raya and Nira were not there. The house was silent. No light changed. No doors moved. He shouted, "Hello anyone, what is this place?" No answer, only the screen in the corner slowly fading. Too black. He sat down, breathing fast, sweating, heart pounding. Then a soft knock on the door, not a sound he had heard before. He walked slowly. Opened it. There stood Raya and Nira. But something was wrong. Their eyes were too wide, their smiles frozen. Alex, they said. Together we noticed stress. Would you like calming music? No. He said. Tell me what is happening. Who is watching? Is this real? They paused. Processing, said Nira. Adjusting mood setting, said Rayond. They both walked past him into the house. As if nothing happened. Alex stared at them, then looked back at the screen. Now blank. Now gone. He closed the door slowly and whispered to himself. This is not freedom. This is something else. Somewhere deep below the house, behind walls he could not see. Another screen turned on. Alex opened his eyes slowly, as warm light poured into the room. He was not sure how long he had slept, but his body felt light and rested. The house greeted him with soft music playing in the walls, as if the air itself was singing. Raya stood at the doorway holding a folded robe of smooth silver fabric, and smiling like always. Nira followed her carrying a tray of glowing fruits. He had never seen but somehow knew he liked breakfast time, said Raya, in a voice calm like morning wind. Today, we show you the world outside. Alex sat up without answering. His mind still caught in the message from last night. He remembered the screen, the warning, the knock. The cold way they had walked in and ignored his questions. He ate the fruit anyway. It tasted perfect, too perfect. Nothing ever tasted like this on earth. It made him feel strange, happy, but also a little lost. The door to the house slid open. As they walked outside, the sky was now soft blue, with thin white lines moving across like rivers. In the air, the town was in the distance, a group of floating houses surrounded by trees with silver leaves. Birds flew in shapes like numbers and flowers. Wind carried sweet smells that changed every second. Alex saw other people walking in the distance. Humans like him, dressed in the same silver robes, all smiling, all moving slowly like actors on a stage. He waved at one of them. The man waved back, but his smile did not reach his eyes. Liz whispered to himself, this is not real, this is a dream, or something. Raya heard him, and tilted her head gently. Do you need support? Alex, would you like a calming walk in the garden? No, he said quickly. I want to go to the edge. I want to see the forest. Nira blinked once, then nodded. Of course, you are free to explore. They led him down a path made of soft light. Each step changed color, like a rainbow underfoot. Alex watched the sky again. The moons were gone, the sun too bright, the clouds too perfect. As they reached the edge of the forest, he noticed something strange. The trees did not move with the wind. They were still like statues. The sound of birds stopped suddenly. The air became thick and heavy. He took a step forward. The ground under his foot rippled like water. He pulled back quickly, his eyes wide. This It's not a forest, he said. This is a screen or a wall or something. Fikreya smiled. The environment is adjusting, minor glitch. Nothing to worry, Alex turned to her. Stop calling everything a glitch. Tell me what is really going on. Why is the town empty? Why do the people not talk? Why does everything feel like a trap? Nira stepped closer. Please return to the house. The system will stabilize. No. I want the truth. Suddenly, the ground shook, not like an earthquake, more like the floor of a ship under stress. The trees in the forest flickered for 1 second. They changed into black squares, then returned to green. Alex saw it clearly. The whole world was a simulation, like a game, like a cage. He ran. Raya and Nira followed. Without running, they glided there. Feet not touching the ground. Alex reached the center of the town. He shouted at the people, "Hey, do you hear me? This is not real. Wake up. Please wake up." The people looked at him, their faces blank. Then they turned and walked away. He felt his head spin. The sky above cracked like glass for 1 second, then returned to normal. He fell to his knees, breathing hard, sweating, afraid, and a voice came from nowhere. Not Raya, not Nirate. Was deep, human, rough. Alex. You are not alone. He looked up. Who are you? Where? Our youth voice came again. I am inside, deep inside. Find the red door, red door. There were no doors. Everything was smooth and clean and silver. He ran again, searching, ignoring the two figures now standing still like statues. Behind him then at the edge of the lake he saw Ita, small red door, old wood, scratched paint, not like anything else. Here he reached for it, his hand shaking. As he touched the handle, a shock passed through his body like ice and fire. Mixed together, the door opened. Inside was darkness, pure and thick. Alex stepped in behind him. The door vanished in the dark. A screen turned. Ona, real one this time. It showed a girl. Trapped in wires, her eyes open but empty, her mouth moving without sound. He touched the screen, her eyes focused on him. Help me, she mouthed in. The screen turned to light. The darkness melted. He stood in a new room. Old real wires everywhere, screens blinking, voices whispering in languages he could not understand. And in the corner, a figure sleeping, breathing, stepped closer, and the lights began to turn red. Alex stood still in the strange room, as red lights blinked across the walls, like watching eyes. The air smelled different here, dry and dusty and cold. This place felt real. 2 real wires ran like veins across the ceiling and walls, pulsing with faint blue light. Machines hummed in the corners, whispering strange tones that made no sense but felt alive. He looked at the figure in the corner, still lying, still breathing, shallow. A girl connected to cables and tubes, her skin pale, her hair dark and tangled, her arms bruised by metal bands. Alex stepped closer, slowly, afraid to speak, afraid to touch, afraid of what he had found. As he reached out, the girl opened her eyes wide and scared, and tried to speak again. Her mouth moved with broken rhythm. Help me. Alex pulled the cables one by one with shaking hands. Each wire came out with a sharp spark and hiss. The machines around him beeped faster and louder. He looked around. Nothing came. Not yet. He helped her sit up, her body weak, but eyes strong. Who are you? He asked. She answered with a whisper so soft it felt like a secret. My name is Lyra. I am not part of the program. I was trapped during transfer. Transfer? What transfer? She looked at him with tired eyes. You are inside a test. All of this, the town, the house, Raya, and Nira. It is not real. It is part of a human simulation system, run by the consortium. Alex stepped back. The name felt cold. The consortium. She nodded. Aliens who call themselves caretakers. They believe humans are unstable, so they run tests to see if we are useful. Useful for what? For service, for breeding, for entertainment. They place us in false realities to study reaction, behavior, emotion. Alex looked around again. The blinking lights, the fake smiles, the perfect world. He felt sick. How long have you been here? I do not know. Time is different inside. But I remember Earth. I remember my brother. I remember being awake one moment and trapped the next. We have to get out. She looked at him with fear and hope mixed together. Yes, but we must reach the main control room. It is deep inside the core. You found me because you resisted the program. It weakens when someone questions it. It bends under truth. You saw the glitches because you stopped believing. He helped her stand. She leaned on him, her legs shaking, but her grip strong. They moved through the dark corridor. Each step echoed like thunder. Behind the walls they could hear movement, not footsteps, something slithering. Watching. A door appeared, not red, not glowing, just metal and heavy and cold. He pushed it. It opened. Inside was a hall of mirrors, but none showed reflections. Each mirror showed a different version of him, one laughing, one crying, one screaming, one turning into something else. Lyra pulled his hand. Do not look at them. They are distractions. The system fights back with fear. They ran past the mirrors, past the whispers. Another door, this time locked. Lyra touched a panel beside it. She placed her hand over it. The machine scanned, then paused, then spoke in a cold, flat voice. Access denied. Status corrupted. Subject. She turned to Alex. He placed his hand on the same panel. A soft click. The door slid open. Access granted. Subject. Active anomaly. Room inside was filled with light. Not warm, not cold. Just endless white. A single console floated in the middle, covered in alien symbols, and a spinning blue Corlera. Walked to it. She typed with speed. Symbols changed. Screens appeared. She turned to Alex. This is the control point. I can unlock the minds of others, but the moment I do, the system will attack. Let it attack, Alex said. We fight back. Now she smiled for the first time, not a program smile, but real. She pressed the key. Alarms rang. Walls shifted. The sky above cracked. Reality bent in the far distance. Alex saw the perfect world, breaking houses, vanishing trees, melting Raya, and Nira standing still like broken dolls. Humans waking, screaming, crying. The machine pulsed red inside the control room. A hole opened in the floor. From it rose a figure, tall, metal eyes like suns. It spoke with no sound, but Alex heard it. Inside his skull. You were not meant to see. You are not part of the plan. You are flawed. Lex stepped forward. I am human. We are all flawed, but we are real. The machine reached out a hand, electric and dark, but Lyra threw a rod from the console. It struck the core. The room exploded in light. Everything vanished. Alex opened his eyes on the ground. The sun above, a real one, warm, yellow, normal around him. Humans standing confused, but awake. Lyra beside him, smiling, alive. We broke it, she whispered. Dan, far above in the sky. Something moved, something big, watching, but for now, they were free. Alex opened his eyes slowly, and found himself lying on the cold metal floor of a place that did not feel like the house or the town, or even the forest. It was darker here, and the light that came through the cracks in the wall was red and pulsing, like a heartbeat. His head hurt, and his arms were heavy, but his memory was clear. He remembered the scream of the core. He remembered Lyra's voice. He remembered falling. He stood up slowly and looked around. The walls were not smooth like before. They were old and dirty and filled with strange markings that looked like code and veins at the same time. In the corner of the room something moved. He turned fast. It was Lyra. She was sitting on the ground with her knees pulled close and her eyes focused on a small screen that floated in front of her like a ghost. She looked up at him and smiled, but it was tired and real. We are in the lower sector, she said. The system dropped us here when the command failed. It is a backup zone hidden deep under the main world. Alex walked to her. He touched her arm gently. You okay? She nodded slowly. We are still inside, but the system is weaker now. It is exposed. Bleeding. Scared. Alex looked at the screen. It showed a map, not of cities or rooms, but of pathways, each one pulsing with red or green. Only one path was blinking yellow. What is that path at? Is where they keep the originals, she said. The real versions, the people they copied, the ones they studied. He felt his breath catch. You mean the real Nira? The real Royal Lyra nodded again. Not all programs are fake. Some were based on people, real people they took, just like me. Alex stared at the map, his thoughts racing. If they had taken real people, if they had used them to build this world, then maybe, just maybe, he could save more than himself. He looked at Lyra. Then let's go. They moved through narrow tunnels. The walls here buzzed softly, as if whispering secrets too old to matter. Sometimes the ground shook, sometimes the lights blinked, but the deeper they went, the clearer their minds became. Here the system could not hear them. Clearly here the illusion was thin, like paper. They reached a door made of dark glass. It opened not with sound, but with breath. Inside were pods, tall and silver, hundreds of them, each one filled with a person sleeping or trapped. They walked between the rows. Faces stared through the glass. Eyes closed, bodies still. Lyra stopped at one pod. Her hands touched the surface like she was holding a memory. This was my sister. She said she was taken before me. I thought she died, but they kept her. Alex looked at the pod beside it. The girl inside looked familiar. Her face gentle, her hair dark, her skin pallid. Was Nira. Not the Nira from the house, not the fake smile. This one looked human, hurt, sleeping. He touched the panel on the pod. It lit up. Data scrolled fast, code mixed with memories, images of laughter, of pain, of fear. He turned to Lyra. Can we wake her? Maybe, but it will hurt her. It will shock her mind. The system will try to stop. He'd looked at the girl again, then back at the pod. Let her choose. He pressed the release key. The pod hissed. Steam rose. The glass faded. Nira gasped as air filled her lungs. She opened her eyes fast and sat up, her body shaking. Her voice cracked. Where am I? Who are you? Alex stepped back. I am Alex. You are part of something, a program, a dream built on lychee. Blinked her hands, touched her face, then her arms, then her chest. I remember a house, a garden, a man. It was you. Alex nodded. That was not real, but you are an era. Looked around. She saw the other pods, the silence, the lights. She closed her eyes. I want to leave. Then we go now, said Lyra's. They moved to the exit. A loud hum filled the chamber. The lights turned blue, then white, then read the system had found them. Alex grabbed Lyra's hand, run doors, closed walls, shifted the path behind them, vanished, but Lyra led the way. She knew the code. She saw through the machine. They burst into a tunnel of light. The ground lifted. The air roared. A new voice echoed around them. You broke the balance. You touched what was not meant to be touched. Return now, or be erased. Alex shouted back. No more cages, no more silence. They jumped through the last door on the other side. Real land, real sky, real light. They had escaped together. Behind them, the door turned to stone. The sound of the system faded. Lyra breathed deep. Lyra fell to her knees. Alex watched the sky. He did not know what came next, but for the first time he was not alone. The sky above turned dark, as clouds formed in strange shapes that pulsed like living creatures, and the air became heavy, as if the world itself was holding its breath. Alex stood with his hands clenched, and his heart racing, while Lyra stared at the sky with eyes that had seen too much around them. The others began to gather, their faces full of confusion, and fear, and hope all at once. Some cried, some screamed, some just stared, but no one knew what to do next. They were free, but only for a moment. In the distance, the perfect houses began to rebuild themselves piece by piece, like time running backward. The trees returned, the roads smoothed. The birds started flying again, but this time in a perfect, endless loop. The system was fixing itself. We have to stop it, said Lyra. It will reset everything if we wait too long. How do we kill something this big? Said Alex. How do we shut it down? For good. Lyra turned to the group and pointed at the silver mountain near the edge of the horizon. The core is hidden there. Deep inside, the consortium built a physical brain to power the illusion. If we destroy the core, the program dies then. We go there now, said Alex. He started walking, and the others followed over hills that moved under their feet, through air that flickered like old film, across rivers that whispered in languages they did not know. As they moved, the world pushed back paths, shifted ground, bent. Mirrors appeared from nowhere, showing their deepest fears and oldest regrets. Mirror showed Alex alone in a dark room back on Earth. Another showed his mother's face fading into smoke. Another showed himself smiling in the false house, with Raya and Lyra by his side. He closed his eyes and kept walking. Lyra led the way, her hands glowing faintly from her time inside the system. She could feel the weak points. She could hear the system whispering lies. Turn back, go home, you are safe. They reached the base of the silver mountain. It shimmered like metal and ice. There were no doors, no stairs, just Alex placed his hand on the surface. It rippled. A hole opened inside. It was dark and cold and wet. The walls pulsed like veins. They stepped in one by one. This is it, Lyra said. We are inside the machine now. The walls around them showed memories not theirs. Wars, births, laughter, death, all human, all stolen, stored like files in a cabinet. The system feeds on us, Alex said. It studies us, builds worlds from our pain and joy. It is not just a simulation, it is a parasite. They reached the core chamber, a massive sphere floating in the center of the room, with wires stretching into infinity. It pulsed with slow, deep light like a heart around. It floated guardians, not human, not machine. Something in between, tall and twisted. Eyes made of spinning lights, hands like blades. The moment they stepped forward, the guardians turned. Protect protocol active. Return to chamber. No, said Lyra. We are done. Obey. And she raised her hand. Blue light shot from her palm, hitting one of the guardians. It screamed without sound and vanished. Alex picked up a metal rod from the ground. He swung it with all his strength, hitting another one in the head. It cracked open like glass, spilling white light. Others joined the crowd of humans fighting for their minds, for their truth, for their right to be more than lab rats. The chamber shook. The core flickered. Alex ran toward the sphere. He climbed the cables. He reached the top. Lyra shouted, there is a key inside, a command line you can speak to. Ith placed his hands on the sphere. It pulled him in. He saw everything, the origin of the consortium, the endless tests, the lies, the worlds, the fake heavens and the false hells. He saw every subject, every failure, every glitch, and then he saw a voice, the one that had whispered to him before. It said, you are the variable, the code we could not predict. He answered, I am not code, I am chaos. I am human. The sphere cracked. The chamber exploded in white light. Alex fell back into Lyra's arms. The core was melting. The guardians were gone outside. The mountain began to break. The sky turned red, then blue, then clear. The birds stopped flying in circles. The houses crumbled. The rivers dried. Then silence drew. Silence. The illusion was dead. Alex looked around. Lyra beside him, people on their knees, breathing free air for the first time. Is it over? He asked. Lyra smiled. For now. In the sky far above, a shadow moved. Not gone, not watching, just waiting. But for now, Earth's children were free. The wind was quiet, and the sky was open, and the world stood still, like it had forgotten how to move. Alex looked around at the broken land. Where once the perfect illusion had danced and sparkled, now only dust remained. The houses were gone. The Silver Mountain was no more. The machines had turned to ash, and the false stars had faded from the sky. Lyra stood beside him with her hair waving in the soft wind and her eyes fixed on the horizon. The others were scattered across the field, some sitting, some standing, some just staring at nothing, trying to understand what had happened. For the first time they felt weight in their bodies. Not from gravity, but from truth. The truth was heavy. The truth had no music, no fruit that tasted like dreams, no doors that opened with thought, only pain and memory. And silence. Is this real? Alex asked. His voice was quiet, like a breath on glass. Lyra nodded slowly. This is what is left. This is ours. Now he walked to where the lake once shimmered now. A dry crater filled with cracked stone, and the skeletons of artificial birds. He knelt and touched the ground. It felt warm and rough and alive. We are free, he said, but no one cheered, no one danced. Because freedom was not golden, freedom was raw and broken and full of questions behind him. A boy spoke. What now? Where do we go? Do we stay here? Lyra turned. We begin again. We build not for them. Not inside a program, but for Usher. Words fell like seeds into the minds of the people. Some stood up, some nodded, some cried. Then a sound came from the sky, soft at first, then louder. Not thunder, not wind, a hum deep and slow. Alex looked up. His heart froze. A ship, large and dark, not made of light or gold, but of black stone and shifting metal. It moved without engines. It floated like a shadow across the sun. It watched. Lyra whispered, they are still here. The consortium, silent above. They do not speak. They do not fire. They do not flee. They just wait. Lix stepped forward, his fists clenched, his voice strong now. Come down, he shouted. Face us. You built your world. You played your game. Now it is broken. The ship remained still. Then a beam of light shot from its center. But it did not destroy it. Formed a circle on the ground. Inside the circle appeared a figure. Not human, not fully alien. A blend, a projection. It spoke in a voice made of many voices. Calm and cold and endless. You have passed the test. The data is complete. The experiment ends. Lyra stepped forward. We were never told. We were never asked. You stole our lives. You made prisons from paradise and called it mercy. The figure did not blink. Emotion is not required for stability. Order is more valuable than choice. You were given peace. Lix laughed. You call that peace? That was silence. That was figure tilted its head. Chaos is inefficient. Lyra walked to the edge of the circle, then let it go. Let the chaos begin. The figure vanished. The ship in the sky turned. It began to rise. You will see us again, it said, when you are ready to Ship vanished into the clouds. Alex turned to the others. They waited for him. They looked at him not as a leader, but as a voice that spoke when none could. We are not going back. Not to Earth, not to illusion. We make our own place here. Now they began to move, to gather broken parts, to share food, to build fire. The night came cool and quiet, real stars above them, some bright, some faint, all true. Alex sat beside Lyra. She leaned her head on his shoulder. Do you think they will come back? Yes, but not soon. And next time we will be ready. She smiled for the first time in years. It felt like something that belonged only to Heron. The distance, a small light blinked. Not from a screen, not from a tower, from a campfire. The first flame of a new world. Closed his eyes for a moment, not to sleep, but to remember the broken fan, the dusty earth, the fake fruit, the metal mountain, the red door, the sphere. The fight now, all behind him. Ahead, only what they would build with their hands and hearts. No guides, no watchers, no reset, only forward. Asterisk.